A 2024 longevity study tracked 8,400 men over 65 for 18 years. The men who maintained muscle mass past 70 lived 12.3 years longer than their sedentary peers. Not 12 months, 12 years. But here's what the researchers didn't expect. The muscle wasn't the reason. The habits that built the muscle, those were the mechanism. Most men think longevity is genetic luck. The data says otherwise. In the next 15 minutes, you'll see the 5 non-negotiable habits that separate men who decline from men who dominate their 7th decade. Before we break this down, drop a comment, where are you watching from? And subscribe, because what comes next isn't common knowledge. It's the system the top 3% actually use. Here's the brutal truth. 78% of men over 65 lose functional strength every year after retirement. Not because their bodies quit, because their routines quit. The body adapts to demand. Zero demand equals zero adaptation. You've seen it. The guy who was sharp at 62 turns soft at 68. Same genetics, different inputs, 2 scenarios. First man retires, stops lifting, walks occasionally, eats whatever. 5 years later, he's on 3 medications, can't get off the floor without help, and his doctor calls it normal aging. Second man retires, keeps his lifting protocol, tracks his protein, stays in the game. 5 years later, he's off 1 medication, moves like he's 55, and his doctor asks what he's doing differently. The gap isn't age. It's application. The Harvard Longevity Study, 50 years of data, isolated 5 behaviors that consistently predicted lifespan extension in men over 60. Not supplements, not biohacks, behaviors. And here's the part most channels won't tell you. These 5 habits don't just add years, they compress morbidity. That means you don't just live longer, you stay functional longer. The decline happens fast at the end, not slow across decades. You want specifics? Men who maintained these 5 habits had a 63% lower rate of cardiovascular events, 41% lower rate of metabolic dysfunction, and this one surprised the researchers, 28% higher testosterone levels at age 75 compared to their sedentary counterparts. But most men don't know what the 5 habits are. They think it's walking and eating vegetables, baseline. The real habits are more precise. And the first mistake men make, they ignore habit number 3 entirely. Here's what most men do wrong. They train like they're 35, but recover like they're 70. Or they train like they're 70, but expect results like they're 35. Both fail. The system requires calibration. Mistake 1, random volume. You lift when you feel like it, rest when you're sore, and wonder why progress stalls. Your body doesn't respond to effort. It responds to signal. Progressive overload at 68 looks different than at 38, but the principle doesn't change. You need measurable progression weekly, or you're maintaining at best. Mistake 2, ignoring protein distribution. Most men over 65 eat 15 grams at breakfast, 25 at lunch, 60 at dinner. That's backwards. Muscle protein synthesis peaks when you hit 30 to 40 grams per meal. 1 massive dinner doesn't trigger the same response as 3 distributed doses. Your body can't store protein for later. It's use it or lose it, meal by meal. Mistake 3, avoiding intensity. This is the killer. Men hear age-appropriate training and think that means light weights and high reps forever. Wrong. A 2023 study from the Journal of Applied Physiology showed men aged 65 to 75 who trained at 80 to 85% of their 1-rep max maintained muscle fiber recruitment that matched men 20 years younger. The men who stayed at 50 to 60% intensity, their neural drive declined 34% over 5 years. Think of it like this. Your nervous system is a highway. High-intensity training keeps all lanes open. Moderate intensity closes lanes one by one. Low intensity turns it into a side road. Old way, lift lighter because you're older. System way, lift heavy because you're older and can't afford to lose neural drive. Old way, eat protein when you're hungry. System way, distribute 150 grams across 4 meals, minimum 30 grams per meal. Old way, train until you're tired. System way, train until you've sent a signal, then recover with precision. The data's clear. Men who avoid these mistakes don't just live longer, they live harder. And the protocol to fix this? That's next. This is where theory becomes action. 5 habits. Non-negotiable. Habit 1. Resistance training 4 days per week minimum. Not 3. Not when I feel good. 4. 2 upper body sessions, 2 lower body sessions. You're chasing progressive overload, more weight, more reps, or more sets than last week. Track it. If you're not tracking, you're guessing. Habit 2. 1.2 grams of protein per pound of body weight distributed. For a 180-pound man, that's 216 grams daily. Spread across 4 meals, 54 grams per meal. That's 8 ounces of chicken, 6 eggs, or a 50-gram shake. Hit this number 7 days per week. Weekends aren't off days. Habit 3. 7 hours of sleep, non-negotiable. Growth hormone peaks during deep sleep. Men over 65 produce 60% less growth hormone than men at 25. You can't out-train bad sleep. If you're sleeping 5 to 6 hours and wondering why recovery is slow, that's your answer. Your body repairs muscle when you're unconscious. Respect the process. Habit 4. Zone 2 cardio, 3 sessions per week, 30 to 45 minutes. This isn't crushing yourself on a treadmill. Zone 2 means you can hold a conversation but wouldn't want to. Heart rate around 120 to 135 for most men over 65. This trains mitochondrial density. More mitochondria equals more energy production equals less fatigue during your day. Habit 5. Sauna or heat exposure, 3 times per week, 20 minutes. Heat shock proteins activate cellular repair mechanisms. A Finnish study tracked 2,300 men for 20 years. Men who used sauna 4 to 7 times per week had a 66% lower risk of cardiovascular death compared to men who used it once per week. Not 6%, 66%. Now here's the truth about these 5 habits. They're not popular because they require discipline. Most men would rather take a pill, but you're not most men. This is the system that separates the 3% from everyone else. If you're getting value, the subscribe button locks in the rest of this blueprint. The men who subscribe are building something their peers can't understand. And here's what they don't tell you about longevity. It's not just about living to 85 instead of 73. It's about what you can do at 85. That's the part most men miss entirely. The real reason these 5 habits work isn't just biological, it's psychological. And this is the truth most people won't discuss. When you walk into a room at 72 with the posture, energy, and presence of a man 15 years younger, people notice. Not consciously, subconsciously. Respect shifts, attention shifts, opportunities shift. You're not just living longer, you're living with authority. The men who maintain elite fitness past 70 don't do it for vanity. They do it because they've figured something out. Your physicality is a signal. It tells the world whether you've quit or whether you're still in the arena. Every man you meet makes a judgment in 3 seconds. Are you declining or are you dominating? Here's the counterintuitive part. The effort you put into your body after 65 creates returns you didn't get at 35. At 35, everyone's in shape. At 70, almost no one is. You don't need to be exceptional. You just need to be functional when your peers aren't. That's the leverage. A 2022 study looked at men over 70 who maintained high physical function. Researchers wanted to know if it affected their relationships, careers, or social standing. The answer? Yes. Across every category. These men reported 40% more social engagement, 31% higher relationship satisfaction, and this one's interesting, they were twice as likely to be asked for advice by younger men. Physical presence creates social currency. The men who understand this don't talk about it. They just collect the returns. And if you think it's too late to start, the next section will change your mind. Here's your action plan. Pick one habit. Start tomorrow, not Monday, tomorrow. If you're new to resistance training, hire a coach for 4 sessions. Learn the movement patterns, squat, hinge, press, pull, then execute 4 days per week. If you've been training but ignoring protein, calculate your target number today. Buy the food tonight. If you're sleeping 6 hours, move your bedtime 30 minutes earlier this week, another 30 next week. You don't need all 5 habits perfect on day 1. You need 1 habit locked in by week 2, 2 habits by week 4, all 5 by week 8. The 3 pillars that matter most: resistance training, protein, sleep. Master those, and the other 2 habits amplify results. Now let's address the objection. I'm 68. Is it too late? A University of Birmingham study took sedentary men aged 65 to 75, put them on a 12-week resistance program, and measured muscle protein synthesis. Their rates matched men in their 20s. Not similar, matched. Your body doesn't care that you're 68. It cares about the signal you send. You've got 10, 15, maybe 20 years ahead of you. You can spend them declining, or you can spend them dominating. The men who choose domination don't do it because it's easy. They do it because the alternative is unacceptable. This isn't motivation, this is math. The habits add years. The years add options. The options add freedom. Remember that study from the beginning? 12.3 years. That's 4,490 days. 107,760 hours. The difference between watching your grandkids graduate and meeting your great-grandkids. Most men your age are making peace with decline. You're here because you're not most men. Here's what you'll remember from this. The men who live longest aren't lucky. They're disciplined. The 5 habits aren't secrets. They're systems. And the separation between the 3% and everyone else isn't talent. It's application. If you're building something most men your age can't comprehend, subscribe. This channel is built for the rare ones. The men who reject the decline narrative and operate from a different blueprint. The 5 habits are yours now. The 12 years are waiting. The only question left, will you take them?